Hi there. So I'm going to quickly go through 5 types of loans that you can get if you're unfortunate enough to have a bad credit rating. And straight in there at number 1 is borrowing money from friends and family. Do not dismiss this one out of hand. It may not be applicable to you, but it's always worth thinking about, because obviously credit ratings are only there for banks to look at, so a friend and a family member aren't going to look at that. They'll obviously be looking at you, and if they think that if you can pay the money back. And I'd always treat this, and often this goes wrong because people don't do this properly. So if I was going to be borrowing some money off a friend and family member, which in fact I actually have, I would, number 1, give them actually a decent reason as to why you need the money. It's quite important for people really just to know that you're not borrowing this money and going to be wasting it, that there is actually a decent and a proper reason why you need to borrow the cash. Maybe you need to replace a car, or get something fixed, just so they know that there's a real reason for why you're borrowing it. I would obviously define to them exactly how much you need to borrow. It might sound obvious, but if you're going to be buying a new car, there'll be a defined amount that you need, and I'd make it very clear the amount that you need. But also, as a side point, try and make sure that this is kind of the minimum that you can get away with needing. So if for example, it is going to be a new car, maybe have a think as to, what is the cheapest car that you can get that's going to do what you want it to do. Make sure that there's a rate of interest in there, or at least offer this. So they're lending you their money. That money's not going to be earning them interest in the bank. So offer them a rate of interest, so it's some form of acknowledgement, financial acknowledgement for the fact that they are lending you some money. I would definitely have an agreement. It doesn't have to be a full loan agreement, but at least have it written down, how much you're borrowing, what the rate of interest is, when you're going to be making your repayments, and when the loan will be fully paid off. So at least there's something in writing. There's no ambiguity there as to what you're borrowing the money for. And finally, and absolutely no means least, is make sure you pay everything back on time, because as we know with friends and family, if that doesn't happen, this is when difficulties can occur and it become awkward. So make sure that if you've agreed, whether it's a weekly amount or a monthly amount, or you're paying it back in a lump sum, that you just honour that. And if for any reason something comes up which means that you can't make a payment, please make sure that you tell them in advance and give them a good reason, and then try and make that up. What people don't like is when they find out after that you should have made a payment that there's been a problem. So if you tell them in advance, that will help smooth things over. So in at number 1 was friends and family. My loan number 2 is an overdraft. You may have tried this already. But overdrafts can generally be relatively cost effective. So, why not go to your bank and just say, you need an overdraft for X amount. Again, you need to know how much, you need to know what it's for, how long you need that overdraft for. So you may have tried this already, but if you haven't, why not go to your bank and ask if you can have an overdraft. They may say no, but they might say yes. So if you don't ask, you don't know. And a bank overdraft is one of the most cost-effective forms of borrowing. So why not give it a try? A credit card. Typically, we get different types of credit cards, and you do get credit cards which are available for people with poor credit ratings. The interest rates can be a bit higher. They can be sort of 30 or so percent per annum. They you won't know instantly. You have to apply. That might take a couple of weeks before you find out if your application has been successful. Typically, you can only borrow about £1,500. So they can be applicable to in some circumstances, and they might not be in others. If you need a fast loan, maybe this isn't the right option, and usually they're only available, the bad credit cards available to people who have made had their missed payments more than 6 months ago, or some of them even a year ago, that they had their missed payments or their CCJ on their credit history. So it may be applicable to you, it may not. It may be one of the options that you try when applying for credit. So that's my number 3. In at number 4, short-term loans or payday loans. These have become fairly well known with various adverts on television, various short-term loans and short-term lenders. They can provide you money very quickly, but they are expensive. So if you're getting this type of loan out, please make sure you do your calculations beforehand to make sure that you pay back the loan on time and you know exactly how much the fees are, because they can be extremely expensive, these loans, especially if you take them out for longer periods of time. And they can be the cause of getting people into worse and worse debt issues. So they are very expensive types of loan. So just please look into them carefully before you take them out. But if it's just a short-term loan that you need and you're going to be paying it back in 2 weeks, they can be a good solution. My final type of loan is a guaranteed loan or a guarantor loan. They are more expensive than an overdraft or a bad credit card. They're typically around 50% APR, but they don't actually look at your credit rating. They look at if you have a friend or family member who's willing to back up your loan. They'll look at the credit rating of your friend and your family member, and you can have short-term guaranteed loans, or you can have up to about £500 for up to a month, and you can get that money quickly. Or you can have longer-term guaranteed loans where they're from £500 to £10,000, and they can be repaid for up to 5 years. So they do offer, if you have a bad credit rating, they do offer another form of lending. We provide a range of bad credit loans, specifically guarantor loans, and we go out to the whole market. And if you'd like to find out and get a quote from a range of lenders and see how much a guarantor loan will cost you and what the benefits will be, please fill out our calculator at the bottom of the page, and we can get you a number of quotes very quickly and see if that's the right type of loan for you.